So we will take a look at Suomi versus LaaaaaN+Hearttt. I did mention that LaaaaaN+Hearttt were both pretty much backups to their own respective teams. Heart was usually a backup to Aftermath behind MBL and Nikov, and he decided, originally he actually wanted to play with them, but then decided to sign up with LaaaN, who was also backup behind Miguel and Dogao in the Heresy team, so they actually decided to form a team together, the Spanish-speaking duo. On the other side, Suomi, the long-time Finnish team over here, Vinlands, the team that really thrives in preparing for tournaments, practicing really hard. Max and Viles will be their representatives, their only representatives, as Rubenstock and Zupi, the other two members of the Suomi team, got eliminated in the qualifiers by Brew and Sito. This is from Group C. So if we take a look at the groups in a moment, you can see that from Group C, we have Suomi, LaaaaaN+Hearttt, Brew and Sito, and Tempo Storm. The top two teams from each group will advance to the single elimination stage, the quarterfinals. Each group consists of two teams that were invited to the main event, that is Tempo Storm and Suomi, and two that qualified, LaaaaaN+Hearttt and Brew and Sito. So with that, let's take a quick look at the draft of the teams. We'll have Kawasan and Cape of Storms for LaaaaaN+Hearttt as their home maps. Team Islands and the Rockslide for Suomi will be their own home maps, and we'll have double Mayan bans in here for us. How is it possible? The way that it is possible is that the bans are hidden parallel, which means that the only time you will see what your opponent banned is once you have done your own ban as well. First pool for Suomi will be Persians, Chinese, Vikings, Japanese, Mongols. They will be lining those up alongside Burgundians, Portuguese, Koreans, Goths, and Burmese as their second pool. Other side, Franks, Lithuanians, Italians, Britons, and the Magyars for our Spanish-speaking team, and Sicilians, Spanish, Turks, Teutons, and Bulgarians in their second pool. So it's an interesting lineup of maps. We have some hybrids, especially LaaaaaN+Hearttt went for heavy hybrid maps like Kawasan and Cape of Storms, whereas Suomi goes for a little bit more specialized maps. I like the Rockslide pick, because that is a very, very preparation-heavy map for 2v2s. Basically, this is the first time we're seeing Rockslide in 2v2 setup. It was designed for Red Bull Volo Free for Empire War Start. It wasn't played in random map settings at all in any major tournaments, neither was it played in random map 2v2, so Suomi's preparation could really show on a map which isn't really explored in terms of meta, so far at least. This is an extremely important set for both teams, because Tempo Storm is the favorite to win this group, and these teams are the candidates to potentially get the second place, so it is somewhat likely that one of these two teams will not be there in the quarterfinals. This is an extremely important set for them, and potentially one of the most balanced in the entire weekend. So we will take a look at Suomi, Max and Viles versus LaaaaaN+Hearttt. It is important to point out, as Robo is telling me, that in the first game, LaaaaaN+Hearttt messed up the civilization selections. So for those of you that do not know, the idea is that you pick 5 civs for you, let's say Persians, Chinese, Vikings, Japanese, and Mongols for Suomi, and then you pick 5 civs for the opponent. That will be their pool 2 civs. So you're trying to give weak or bad civilizations to the opponent, like Sicilians, Spanish, Turks, Teutons, Burgundians. And you always have to pick 1 civ from your own pool 1, so one that you picked for yourself, and 1 from your pool 2, so one that the opponent gave to you. Now, a common mistake that players do, especially if they're unexperienced with the format, is that they pick 2 from their pool 1. In that case, by rule, the opponent's team can actually replace one of their civs with the pool 2 civ of the opponent's choice. So, just like in a standard 1v1 tournament, where if you mess up your civ selection, the opponent can select a civ for you to play. In this case, if you mess up your civ selection, and you pick accidentally 2 pool 1 civilizations, the opponent will be able to select your pool 2 civ for that first game. So, Robo is telling me that LaaaaaN+Hearttt made that mistake, so that means that the civ selections are not necessarily voluntarily. so to say, for Suomi in this one. Or for LaaaaaN+Hearttt, Suomi had something to do with that because LaaaaaN+Hearttt messed up the Civ selection. Regardless, we will jump into the first game and you will see why I'm saying that. Italians is a pick that is almost guaranteed for islands, and because LaaaaaN+Hearttt messed up their civilization selections, they will have to use Italians on Arabia, Suomi punishing them for a crucial mistake. Oh my goodness. I mean, Italians is an okay archer civ, but if you add it to the fact that they wanted Italians so much, messing up that civ selection hurts them so badly. And that's why, you know, you gotta read rulebooks or ask admins if you're not sure, but it is likely that they picked two first pool civilizations, or maybe two pool 2 civilizations, I'm not sure, I don't have details on that. But one thing is sure, they'll be playing with Sicilians in yellow, which is their pool 2 civ, and they are forced to use Italians on Arabia with red. And it's not about Italians being bad on Arabia. The problem is that Italians would be so good on islands and they kind of lose their chance. As opposed to that is an interesting combination as well. We'll have Vilas playing in blue as Chinese, that will be their archer civ, and Suomi will be using their pool 2 cavalry civ, Burgundians, as green for Max. Max is likely going to be the cavalry player as he usually is in Suomi team games as well, with all the teal paladins that he's flooding. And Vilas is usually the archer player, or at least one of the archer players in Suomi team games. Other side, Len will be playing Italians in red, and yellow will be Heartt's civilization with Sicilians. So Sicilians and Italians versus Chinese and Burgundians. I feel like there's a bit of a civ advantage for Suomi to start the day with. Definitely something that you might expect for Suomi. And one thing to talk about is that LaaaaaN+Hearttt aren't really well established as a duo so far. So this might be the first time that they actually play a tournament together, which means that their team chemistry might not be there just yet. So that means that when it comes to drafting and stuff like that, or picking saves, there could be some miscommunications, and that could lead to situations like this. And Suomi, on the other hand, is always a very well prepared team with good team chemistry, and Hearttt, oh my goodness. If it wasn't enough to mess up your civ pick, he kills the boar with the TC. And yes, I have seen counter arguments for, oh yeah, you save some HP on your villagers if you lure the boar with the TC, and that can be so helpful, and you save some villager time, whatever. But every time I say this in tournaments, I'm saying that you shouldn't do this in my perspective. The reward is there, I totally agree, there is some small reward for not losing that much HP on your villagers and whatsoever, but the risk is too big. Losing a boar like that hurts so badly. Heartt's start couldn't be worse than this, to be honest, and he's the scouts player, so he will need a lot of food at the beginning. He needs to push in some deer to compensate at this point. Other side, we're gonna have deer being pushed in by Max. It looks like he's not really bothering pushing in very close to the TC. He killed it in the middle of nowhere over here. But he already pushed in all of his passive huntables. So Max probably is preparing for a very fast feudal, or the alternative is that if you are this heavy on food at the beginning, like all your villagers on hunt essentially, you can afford double bit-axe, maybe even horse collar, before clicking up the feudal age. And that way, you could have a slightly better eco going into feudal, even with a 20 or 21 pop feudal. So we'll see if Max does that. Max looks like he actually wants to go for a 20 pop feudal, and will probably grab double bit-axe while he's going up. So, we will have the red player, our Italian one, going for the barracks here on the front. We haven't talked about the maps of the players just yet, but this is a fairly awful gold for LaaaN. Not necessarily an ideal spot for him by any means. He's gonna have to place his ranges around this place, which is not ideal because your opponent is this way. So, other side, We will have few Lich coming in here for Max. Vilas is not going up though. What is Vilas up to? Vilas goes for 23, although that's Chinese. So that is about a 21, 22 pop equivalent. Straight archers most likely from Vilas. Other side, we have Sicilians for a heart in yellow. And we will have the barracks coming in here for him first. So here's the deal. His gold mine is also super duper exposed. Not necessarily ideal. And it looks like we will have what appears to be a late Drush / early Man at Arms play from LaaaaaN. He's waiting for Man at Arms, so this actually wants to be a Man at Arms play for now. This could hurt Vilas quite badly, and indeed, Vilas could actually lose his option to get his barracks up. This could be very troublesome, and LaaaaaN just needs to camp that hill until he gets the Man at Arms upgrade. That's a very, very good start over there. Vilas just beating down that barracks, that's not really doing much. And Man at Arms upgrade coming in immediately. Vilas is in a bit of a trouble here because that's probably not how he imagined his start, that's for sure. So we'll have Man at Arms coming in for LaaaaaN, and that means that Vilas right now has 2 villagers idle here, tries to repair that wall. If he gets to a couple of archers, he should be good to go, but I mean, there is still quite a lot of pressure in his face. LaaaaaN does have quite decent scouting here. He knows about the gold mine, he's heading there. Archer range just now coming in for Vilas. We already have the stable up for Max, and look at that ping. Heart actually pinged LaaaaaN that, hey, there is a wood line here, and that's exactly what they're actually going for. And Vilas is under a lot of pressure as the yellow scout is trying to block the villager. It's not about the villager kills, it's about the idle time right now for LaaaaaN and Heart that they are actually enforcing on Vilas and Max. And on the other side, we'll have Max bringing in his scouts, but using your scouts to clean up men-at-arms is not ideal by any means. So you want to use your scouts to kill the opponent's scouts or potentially to kill archers. Every time men-at-arms can fight against scouts in 2v2s, that's a great scenario for the men-at-arms player because men-at-arms are fairly decent against scouts. You're gonna have the archers coming in here for LaaaaaN, not really great numbers right now. One range is up as well for Vilas, so they will wait until they have like 3 archers and then clean this one up though. So we might not even see the scouts taking this engagement. Let's see where the scouts are at from Heart. Heart is not really going for a lot of scouts. In fact, Heart has 3 scouts, and that is all. Part of the fact could be the thing that his food eco wasn't really great at the beginning, and that means that his scout numbers are probably not impressive as a result. Nice turnaround over there from LaaaaaN. That's a very, very good fight for him, I believe. Trading off your men-at-arms to 1 scout, potentially picking off another one or just damaging them. This was value for those men-at-arms. It wasn't perfect, but it was value, especially if you can use the yellow scouts to intercept a couple of archers. Those early archers are very expensive to lose. And guess what? Those are Sicilian scouts, so they take less damage from a spearman. One of the nice added benefits of being Sicilians here. Currently, eco upgrade-wise, we have a Bidax and the Horse Color for both LaaaaaN and or Heart and or Green player Max. No Horse Color from either Archer player, and no Castle Age eco upgrades right now for Max's Burgundians for the time being. So we're gonna have a second range coming in here for Vilas. You can see that he's having a production bottleneck, so it makes some sense for him to add a second range. Second range just now coming in here for LaaaaaN as well. And for now, 5 scouts versus 5 scouts. Let's see if Heart tries to turn around and take this fight using a hill, or maybe add the spearman to decide this engagement in his favor. He actually stabilized quite nicely, and remember that he's gonna have the Sicilians farming upgrades on those farms, so those are some very, very sturdy farms, and that helps a lot because your early wood eco isn't super duper strong, so being able to sustain those farms longer allows you to afford town centers or a search stable much easier in Castle Age. That helps so much. So with that, it looks like Vilas will slowly bow himself up, just now coming in for fletching. It looks like LaaaaaN will actually start helping out his teammate in this one. The scouts will jump the spearman, once again Sicilian bonus kicking in. One thing we haven't talked about is that late game there should be a massive advantage for Suomi Civs. Burgundians do have Paladin, even though they don't have Bloodlines. Chinese have Arbs though. Italians do have Arbs as well, but Chinese eco is overall stronger. I don't think that Genoese crossbows will be something that we see very frequently. Sicilians do have fully upgraded Cavalier and the strong farming eco though, so they feel a little bit like budget Slavs, so to say. Nice fight over there from Heartt, as he cleans up most of those scouts. Castle Age, however, coming in here for Max, as I would think that this is the time when you bring in some of the Castle Age upgrades, like Boso, for example. Right now, Max's food eco isn't great, by the way. He's only 13 on farms, and when you go 13 on farms, that means that you didn't make a lot of army in feudal. So this is a fairly greedy Castle Age from Max, and here it is. Burgundian power showing here with the early Boso for Max. Even just 20 seconds faster Boso can help a little bit when it comes to wood income, and every detail matters, as we know in pro tournaments. Voyager count is slightly better for LaaaN and Heartt, but that is only because they haven't cleaned up to Castle Age just yet. Double layer Polycides for Max over here, who's almost up to Castle Age, goes for double stable knights, no surprise about that. Other side, Castle Age is coming in for a LaaaN for the time being, and no, it's actually Heartt going into Castle Age with the Scouts player, and our Archer player hasn't clicked up just yet. He will, especially with Italians, keep that in mind, that Italians can click up to Castle Age cheaper, but he's still going to be the last player to reach Castle Age, because it looks like Castle Age is already being clicked by Villes as well. So, with that, Archers from Villes might intercept the force of LaaaN over here. LaaaN doesn't have +1 defense. +1 defense will be coming in here for Villes, so this is not a fight that LaaaN wants to take, although he might take this before armor comes in, and he does have the downhills advantage. Still, LaaaN's army is gonna get vibed over here, and that is far from ideal. It's going to push him down to like 6 or 7 archers as opposed to about 12 crossbows. That was a disaster engagement for LaaaN. He is 230 away from Castle Age with 6 archers, as opposed to a player that has 12 archers with 1 minute away from Castle Age. One thing that could save things is potentially Sicilian cavalry, but that's still going to be tough because Max is already in Castle Age getting the knights out here. Soon it's going to be Burgundian Cavalier indeed. Since he has the Castle Age advantage, he's actually able to go for a Cavalier upgrade early, which takes quite a lot of time, and while you're researching that, you're not actually making a cavalry. But still, Cavalier has been clicked by Max here, and with that, we are actually pushing our way through the walls of Heartt. Heartt is in a bit of a trouble here, because he doesn't really have the army right now to stop this one, and his gold mine is very much exposed. Looking at those knights, his knights right now have +1 defense bloodlines, but soon he's gonna be up against Cavalier, but more importantly, crossbows from Max and Villes. And the team chemistry is really showing here for Suomi, because their coordination seems to be slightly better. Archers will now move out for Heartt. He's gonna go triple range archers here, but Heartt already has his gold mine exposed, and he doesn't have a backup gold mine to go for. So this is his other gold mine, and there is a third one somewhere that I can't see. Oh, there it is. He actually has a backup gold mine. In that case, this is actually alright. I thought it's way worse. He's got a backup gold mine here. That's a nice gold to work with. The Spearman is still relentlessly poking down that blacksmith, not really achieving much. Second TC already in for Max. He's the only player with more than 1 town center in this game. Crossbows will come in though for LaaaN. He's gonna have a quite sizable force here, and he could take down this army from Villes. That's only 12 crossbows, and when you have crossbow numbers like that, you can easily clean up these crossbows here, and then suddenly you're gonna have a massive crossbow numbers advantage. Quick walls coming in here from Heartt, losing 1 Voyager in the process, but that army now is trapped, so you really gotta ask the question if this was worth it for Suomi. Like, Villes will try to camp the hill here with +1 defense, his opponent also has +1 defense, but now Villes leaves the hill and he trades off those crossbows potentially for 1 more Voyager. LaaaN now trying to take the hill. He needs to take the hill though, man. Just take the hill and you should be good to go, especially with knights coming in as a meat shield. Ballistics just now coming in for LaaaN. Nice micro from Villes. And he eventually does a very, very good job microing down those crossbows. Looks like LaaaN looked away, and he thought he's gonna be able to clean those up easily, but Vilas takes a fairly decent engagement here, and if you look at the overall crossbow numbers, that's slightly better. One of the reasons why LaaaN had to look away is because of this, though. Cavalier and crossbows break into his base, and there is ballistics as well for Vilas, with no hope of stopping this. And I mean, there is no gold income right now for LaaaN. He's gonna have to walk all the way back. Heartt will try to come in with his knights to help, but these Cavalier have +1 defense and 12 attack with 120 HP. These knights have +2 defense but only 10 attack with 120 HP. Suomi looking strong in this one. LaaaN having a hard time, and I think the bigger problem for LaaaN and Heartt is that Suomi is expanding their eco very, very rapidly. So 3 TCs pretty soon for Vilas, and 2 TCs already for Max, whereas Heartt is actually on 3 TCs. Interesting. Now this army gets trapped in here. 42 villagers is not impressive for LaaaN, but it might not be the end of the world if they actually clean this one up. And yes, they did take some beating, but if you take a look at the overall ecos, it's like a 5 villagers lead for Suomi. Is that decisive? Probably not. LaaaN and Heartt are definitely on the back foot, by a massive margin, I would say. But I don't think that they are completely annihilated just yet, especially if this game goes longer, because then they will have the chance to reboom very easily. LaaaN is on 2 TCs just like the other cavalry player, and we already have 3 TCs for Heartt, so Heartt is at 62, whereas Vilas is only at 52, but it looks like what Vilas is actually going for is an early Imperial. Look at those resources. It very much seems like Vilas knows that he doesn't want to turn into a boom game, and he just wants to go Imp. In fact, he is still producing vills, but eventually he will click into Imperial in the foreseeable future for early Arbalasts, and that's what LaaaN is gonna have a hard time chasing down. Like, LaaaN won't click into Imperial anytime soon, even with Italians that have a cheaper age up. So that's gonna be the major problem, that an early Imperial from Vilas could actually snowball a game really fast. So 3 TCs now for Max as well. He's just gonna keep adding Cavalier from double stables, but will expand his eco quite nicely on freight down centers. Other side, it looks like we have the hill being held here by Vilas, slowly progressing towards Imperial. And now with +1 defense, there is +1 defense as well for LaaaN. Crossbow numbers are slightly better for Vilas, but this is what is really scary for LaaaN and Heartt right now. The Imp that will soon come in from Vilas. He doesn't want to click super early into Imperial because he wants to have a good eco behind that one. But still, at around 70-75 villagers, he will click Imp. And you can see that LaaaN is nowhere close to chasing that one down, although his food count is looking good, but his gold count isn't great. Italians will definitely help you catch up with that. So I wonder if they realize the score drop for Vilas, because every time you click up to the next stage, your score drops until you reach the next stage. If you actually spot that, you can tell that your opponent has clicked up. It's hard to spot, but it could be possible. It looks like they don't spot it because LaaaN is going to go Thumbring, which signifies that he wants to take Castle Age fights. 2.5 minutes will be a very, very long time for Suomi to keep this army alive, but if they are successful doing that, the Arbalasts will just finish off everything. Eco-wise, the ecos are dead even, but that early Imp from Vilas could hurt so badly for LaaaN and Heartt. And Max is also getting close to clicking Imp here. So if you see those bars being filled up, if both of those are filled up, then you can click into Imperial. And with that, that would be an early Paladin from Burgundy, and something that shouldn't be overlooked, that they can click into Paladin immediately. Knights right now with the +1/+2 crossbows might be heading towards Max here to try and catch Suomi off position, but it looks like Suomi will also commit upon seeing the opponent leaving, and you don't want your crossbows surrounded like that. That could be the biggest disaster that can happen, trying to find a nice low choke point here, but oh, that's some miscommunication, and that is exactly the difference between the two teams. Max and Vilas have insane team chemistry. They've been playing together for a long time, whereas LaaaN and Heartt teamed up for this tournament specifically, and that is just lack of coordination. It looks like Heartt decided that he wants to go for a raid on Max's base, but he just allowed his teammates' entire army to get annihilated, and now it's looking really grim. Suddenly double the army. And I mean, Heartt is gonna do some raiding, but is it gonna be comparable to the death blow of Cavaliers running into your base with soon Arbs? It's probably not. So I think when Max hits Imperial, it's going to be over. Max even getting fletching for his TCs, so he's going to be able to stop those knights from raiding a little bit easier. He just needs a couple of Cavalier. He will take some damage, but I feel like, indeed, upon Velas reaching Imperial, Heart is just going to tap out. And that's the interesting thing here. Suomi, with the insane coordination, I did mention that Suomi might be the team that benefits from team games the most, to be honest. So 1v1 Suomi players are great, especially Vilas recently. Max has been somewhat underwhelming in tournaments recently, but the bigger the team game, the better Suomi becomes. So they're stronger in 2v2 than they are in 1v1, they're stronger in 3v3, and in 4v4, man, Suomi is an absolute beast. So, really, I feel like this is a tough matchup for LaaaaaN and Heartt. They need to have some insane team coordination because Max and Vilas are definitely on point today. Also, messing up, like, there was a lot of things that went wrong for LaaaaaN and Heartt. So, the best thing is to just forget about this game and start with a clean sheet, I believe. So, they messed up the Civ selection to start with. Then, Heartt killed the boar with the TC, and then they massively miscoordinated their armies as the final decision in the game. So, they need to sort of clean things up going into game number 2. Otherwise, they will have some troublesome moments in this set. And as I said, this is a very, very important set because they are in the same group as Tempo Storm and Bruin Sito. So Tempo Storm is likely the strongest team in this one. So you're mostly targeting the second place in your group. You obviously want to win your group, but at least the second place so that you advance into the quarterfinals. But at the end of the day, only one of these teams will be able to grab the second place, I believe, if Tempo Storm takes number 1. So, now we're going to one of the home maps for LaaaaaN and Heartt, Kawasan or Cape of Storms. It is going to be Cape of Storms with an interesting combination of civilizations. So, we have Turks and Magyars coming in for LaaaaaN and Heartt, and Goths and Mongols will be the picks for Suomi. Heartt is Peruvian, guys. You can't actually see it because you see that the flags are split in the middle, and that actually just removes the middle thingy on the Peruvian flag, but Heartt is by far the best Peruvian player out there, and LaaaaaN is Spanish. And indeed, I think it is appropriate to spam some llamas in the chat, as that is the spirit animal of Heartt's stream. Heartt recently returned to the competitive scene, failed to qualify for Hidden Cup. In fact, he lost to Bars in what was an insanely good series, something that you can also check on my YouTube, by the way. So, this is the first big main event that they are playing in, and it looks like Heartt actually sent some Sheeperinos towards LaaaaaN over here. It might just be, you know, him finding his teammates' sheep and sending it here. And Vilas, oh my goodness, there is the gods. This is gonna be the biggest fail of a lame ever. Oh, Vilas. You can tell that Vilas is not really that experienced with these lames. I mean, oh, alright. There's a lot to talk about, but that Vulture with Loom, he's just gonna get killed by the scout, I believe. Vilas will still try to take down these Huntables, but that was a very underwhelming lame attempt, let's just say that. And I really don't know if trading off 3 ostriches for a Voyager is actually worth it. Because this map has 3 boars for both players, so that's something to point out. Vilas loses 1 Voyager, and now it looks like both of the Huntables are at the back. Vilas lames 2 sheep, but I did mention that on this map where you have fish, you have 3 boars per player. It's not really easy to lame food, and it looks like Vilas will actually try again. Here comes the next one. He's targeting these boars, and I think he can actually take this one. We'll have Vilas, by the way, playing as God's flank in blue. Pocket will be Mongols for Max in green. Mongols an insane save, obviously, with a map that has so many Huntables. And on the other side, Heartt will be playing Pocket Magyars in yellow, and Turks will be the Civ for LaaaaaN. It's probably going to be an archer use of the Turks here. Oftentimes on this map, you see Turks being used as a cavalry civ, and in this case it's gonna be your archers, even to cav archers. Vilas actually finds a huntable to lame, which is a nice value over there. So obviously he channels his inner Ruben stock, and you see that LaaaN actually wanted to lure that boar in. He already sent the villager out, and he's gonna be like, oh man, come on, you can't do this to me. Luckily he's got 3 huntables, and one of them is still at the back, so that's something, as it looks like Vilas will run into the TC fire and will lose his scout. I feel like, despite the fact that Vilas actually killed a huntable here, I feel like this is a somewhat underwhelming lame attempt, so to say, from Vilas. Now it is Max's scout over here, scaring away the one from LaaaN. It looks like... Oh, LaaaN! LaaaN. I mean... Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I mean, he's busy microing his scout whatsoever, but he lost the villager to burn, everything going wrong. Really everything going wrong. For, oh, Capture H freezing? Yeah, Capture H froze for a moment. Don't worry about that, but... let's just say that the start wasn't ideal for LaaaN+Hearttt. Previous game they lost the boar to the TC fire. Now it's a villager lost by LaaaN, and he lost one of his huntables. It is just an absolute craziness. Now that being said, I'm not saying that this is actually worth it for Vilas, because he could be losing his second villager to this one. He also killed some hunt here, and Vilas is sending a third one. I feel like now that Rubenstock is lost 3-0 to... or Rubenstock and Zupi lost 3-0 to Brew and Sito in the qualifiers, I feel like Rubenstock might be using Vilas's account here. I'm joking, obviously, but man, he's sending a third one. He's sending a third one, boys. And I feel like LaaaN probably feels so sad after this. He lost the huntable, he lost the villager, he doesn't have a dog whatsoever. And he's going for this huntable. He's going for this one. Villager number 4 coming in just now. It's gonna be free or double dogs for Suomi, only one player with a dog for LaaaN+Hearttt. Oh, it's so chaotic. Villager count is still that even, and he lames another huntable. Oh. Like, Vilas is such a nice guy, and it feels so awkward. I feel so bad for LaaaN, man. Like, you could see the internal pain. He just sent out that villager to bring in that one. This is the second time this happened. He sends out a villager and he's just like 5 seconds too late to his boar. Now there's 2 dead elephants rotting in the middle of nowhere. He lost all his huntables. He doesn't have a dog. His fuel age time is probably gonna be something like 25 minutes. Oh, Vilas is making life very painful for LaaaN. And honestly, at least Vilas has fishing eco and Vilas has reasonable food income. So, you know, overall, I feel like he did more damage than what he suffered. He lost 2 villagers, sure, but it is what it is. And you could see the green ping here from Max. I think that was telling Vilas, hey, there is some huntables there. We have some scout scuffle over here. It looks like since Max is in fuel age, this is a fight that LaaaN has to take. He can't really run away from this one. And the disaster continues for LaaaN+Hearttt so far. Oh my. The villager here is safe. And he's going back. This guy might be going back over here. This is all about that, by the way. It looks like Max is just gonna play scouts here with the Mongol hunt and fish combined. I would be massively surprised if we haven't seen Suomi pushing water as well. And, yeah, like, you can see that LaaaN is suffering from massive damage here. He has to make a mill, and that's the other thing to talk about. On this map, you don't have berries, so you don't make mill there. You make a dock. LaaaN is going up to fuel age with a barracks and mining camp as his buildings, by the way. But he had to make a mill just so that he can make farms. Like, LaaaN's Dark Age was an absolute disaster. Obviously, it's not all his fault, because Vilas made his life very painful, and here's the villager. And, I mean, look at that blue ping. He tells his teammate, hey, my villager is here, and they are probably going to try and take down these huntables here as well. Now there is a mill on that doesn't really matter anymore, but Max has scouts, and is Vilas gonna go for a forward range here? Or what is the plan? Vilas will probably try to take those huntables down as Max jumps on the villagers of LaaaN immediately. Needless to say, LaaaN doesn't really have any army right now. He's happy to at least have something, like free farms working for him. That's all he has. Let's see if there's any fire galleys on the way. There is fire galleys and there is men-at-arms as well. It looks like Vilas is gonna switch gears, adding men-at-arms, and goes right on a tower in the face of his opponent. Man, Suomi is looking hot here. Suomi is looking hot, even though Vilas just ran into the TC fire with one of the men-at-arms, and he did that with one of his scouts as well before. Voyager still lurking around. It looks like Heartt will chase the scouts of Max all the way across the north, but that actually helps Max, I believe, because that means that the scouts aren't here stopping this tower, and I wonder if LaaaN knows about the tower. He doesn't see it, but he might have seen the Voyagers coming forward. He doesn't seem to react to it, though, which means that LaaaN could just lose that. Oh, that hurts even more. So I like this move from Vilas walling in the tower. And most of the stone on this map is on the north, so it's not easy to counter tower things. A villager here from Heartt getting trapped, and wherever I look, I just feel sadness. Pure and raw sadness from our Spanish-speaking team here. Because, I mean, villagers getting killed by fire galleys. There is another villager killed from Vilas, so they only have a 2 villagers lead right now. But, I mean, they tower the gold mine of LaaaN over here. LaaaN is forced to fall back to the other gold mine, goes for a couple of archers on the field, but behind this one, Max probably has a completely untouched boom, and he's going for bloodline scouts already. He doesn't have any other upgrades on those for the time being. There is +1 from Heartt's Magyars, though, something to pay attention for, so Heartt's scouts are slightly better right now. But still, at the end of the day, I feel like Suomi is in a much better spot. Untouched fishing eco for them, as Heartt is trying to take the hill, and this is misleading because the same rules apply to hills on water than they do on land, so deal more damage. However, that is a percentage bonus, and because the base attack of fire galleys are so low, it doesn't give 1 extra attack, and the game actually only registers integers as damage, so it doesn't actually record fraction damage. So you can't do 2.5 damage, you can only do 2 or 3. Which means that that buff doesn't actually impact fire galleys, it only impacts galleys. So now it is Heartt going for his own bloodlines as well, double stable scouts. Obviously Magyars will love to play scouts here. Cheap scouts with the extra attack, that helps quite a bit, and I feel like LaaaN and Heartt might be stabilizing. They're behind by 3 villagers, but 3 villagers is not the end of the world over here. I would think Skirmisher is now coming from Vilas, but that's actually a very good fight, I would think, for LaaaN and Heartt. They can just pick off the men-at-arms, and the Skirmishers won't do much against the scouts, whereas these archers are at least capable of doing some damage to Max. Max clicking up to Castle Age though, and that's where things could get really rough. You will just use your double stables as knights, you won't go for Mangodai early on. On this map, Mangodai is not really an early thing. Still, Vilas could be exposed to massive aggression, especially if those skirms are intercepted here by the scouts. Nice move from LaaaN to bring back his archers. The skirms will actually find shelter close to the TC. So, with that, Castle Age on the way for Max, just coming in with a forging as well. He already has +1 defense, so his scouts will soon be equivalent to the yellow ones over here. And since there is no more scouts from LaaaN or Heartt in here, that means that those skirms could pick off a couple of archers, some more scouts coming in here, but look at the food eco for LaaaN and Heartt. Both of them are very heavy on gold, so they could definitely think about going for market and clicking up. But the first to Castle Age will be Max, followed by Vilas first. LaaaN is not on water, and Max has a fire galley that's killing the fishing eco of Heartt. Voyager count, however, for Suomi isn't looking that great either. It's 82 Voyagers only, because there's a fire galley from Heartt sneaking past. So Vilas is actually going to lose some of his fishing eco as well. Vilas forced to make a defensive tower here, and... Transport ship! There's a transport ship for Vilas! What? What? Where is that? I wanna see it. Vilas had a transport ship queued up in one of... What? He only has 1 dock. Why does he have a transport ship queued up? What is happening? I'm confused. Someone help. There's a transport ship queued up, but there's only one dock for Vilas. Could it be just a misclick and capturage bugging out? Because there is definitely a transport ship, or at least there was a transport ship queued up at some time. Now it looks like Vilas loses his fishing eco, but look at Max, the big boomer on the water. He's got 13 fishing ships. Okay, now the transport is gone. Alright, we're good. So here's the deal. Castle Age is coming in for LaaaaaN and Heart as well. Max already has +1/+2 knights. There will be +2/+2 knights coming in for Heart soon though, from the pocket. He needs to hold out for 1.5 minutes basically. It's going to be tough, but if they actually get there, then they will have better knights. And I think the best way to hold out against the early knights push from Mongols is to raid the Mongols player here. So you just go and raid this eco because that forces Max to send some army back to clean it up. It looks like we're gonna have a Pike and Siege coming in from Vilas. We have a couple of archers from LaaaN. The biggest problem for LaaaN is that he is like going nowhere in terms of unit composition. He's got free army overall. Knights will run past him immediately. Spearmen trying to chase this one down. Nice quick walls coming in from LaaaN. And, well, Knights running into Spearmen is definitely not ideal. Famous Turkish Spearmen out on the field. Second TC coming in right now for Max, as this is exactly what Heart is supposed to do. Just force your opponent to chase with their army. Nice move from Max, adding a camo that should be enough to chase this down, but look at this. Heart is killing Max's fishing eco, so the ecos are still dead even. There is so many places to look at, as the gold mine apparently was not quick walled fast enough by land, so he keeps losing villagers here. Spearman, for the time being, able to hold off the knights, and it looks like we're gonna have cav archers coming in from land, but it takes so much time to get to cav archers. Still, fire galleys are now out for Max, so he should be able to protect the remains of his fishing eco, land back to fairly decent fishing eco himself, and he's gonna go for triple stable Magyar Knights, not something that you should underestimate. Still, we are gonna have pikemen already out, and I think pikemen mangonels here are slightly better than the cav archer play from LaaaN early on, because cav archers won't do much at the beginning of castle. They don't really have the upgrades. Like, they will have Botkin and +1 defense, but I'm not sure how you even keep up those ranges. So I feel like it is hard that has to do some massive carrying here in order to be able to come back into this game, so to say, because even though the ecos are dead even, things like this are happening to Heart, and Suomi is slowly taking over in villager count, as Max is already going for TC number 3, and Max only +1/+2 on those knights, but he's got the knights numbers advantage, at least on this screen. And look at that. He is just sending one knight back over here to keep killing villagers. If you take a look at the villager KD, Vilas lost 10 villagers though. Some of that was fishing eco. Max killed 12, lost only 4. LaaaN only lost 5 villagers, that's impressive actually. LaaaN losing 5 villagers under so much pressure is quite admirable. Heart lost 8. Overall. Now this is finally a cleanup for LaaaN and Heart, but they are now behind by 17 villagers. Nice mangonel shot over there from LaaaN to slow this push down. He only has 1 range and a somewhat underwhelming 3 cav archers on the field only. Mangonel once again coming out here. That's going to be no trades, but nice shot over there from Vilas, and I feel like LaaaN has taken so much damage in Dark Age that it pretty much crippled his entire game. Over here, it looks like we'll have another fire galley being snuck around by Heart to try and pressure the fishing eco of the opponent. LaaaN now going for fish himself, but he lost all his ranges. 10 camos, and I think that's the right thing to do. They know exactly that it's gonna be cav archers, most likely, and knights, so you can go 4 camos if you are Max, and that's exactly what he's doing. Max also crazy boom behind this one, 68 villagers with 4 TCs. Coming in, we will have mangonels for LaaaN. That's a nice mangonel shot over there, but still 5 cav archers won't slow this down enough. It looks like we're gonna have a big counterattack on the north by Heart. I like that Max is dropping outpost to actually spot stuff happening around that place. We will have some conversions even, and there's so low cav archer numbers for LaaaN that they might just get converted. And guess what? The camos with +1/+2 will clap the Magyar Knights over here. And it's not like LaaaN can go for like pikemen or something because he's Turks. This is looking really grim for LaaaN+Hearttt. Could be an easy 2-0 for Suomi so far. Their team coordination is showing really well, their preparation is showing really well. And so far, I feel like the problem for LaaaN+Hearttt is not necessarily that LaaaN is slowly dying, it's the problem that Max has a crazy boom, man. 77 Voyagers, he's progressing towards Stone Mines, and at some point we're going to see Manga die. 3 TCs will be coming in for Vilas as well, and Mongols and Goths are 2 of the saves that you don't want to fight post-imp against. So we'll have a second TC just now coming in for LaaaN, trying to go for some safe wood lines over here. Mangonel shot is actually nice over there from LaaaN, but not finishing off the Mango just yet. And some more Mangonel defense coming in for LaaaN as he's trying to TC his primary gold for the time being. As he will try to defend against the camels with some monks. Nice Mangonel shots over there. TC slowly going up, and that should be able to finish off the tower, especially with Mangonel support. Knights trying to take a good engagement, but there is quite a lot of camels supporting, and still it's 141 eco compared to 112. It looks like the fishing eco of Heart has been cleaned up. Most of Max's fishing eco has also been cleaned up, so no one really is on water anymore. Mangonel misses the shot over here for Vilas, and he is going to keep that Mangonel alive. Take a decent shot over there on the other Mango. It's going to end up 2 1-for-1s, as the Knights now with +2, they don't have +2 defense actually. That's somewhat underwhelming if you ask me. So at this stage, +2 defense missing hurts so badly. Obviously there is not a lot of archers, but it's just about +2 defense would give you 1 extra melee armor as well, and that helps quite a lot in general. And there's a chance Max will just drop a castle here, which would limit the opponent's movement towards the north, and on the north is where all the gold mines and stone mines are at. So if you drop a castle here, that could be extremely helpful for Max and Vilas, and that's exactly what they're going for. They will slowly start trickling in Mangudai into the opponent's eco as well. It's going to take some time until Max switches fully into Mangudai, but he already has Bloodlines, he's got Husbandry, he has no archer upgrades though, but he will probably click into Imperial first. He's missing 1 building to do that, but when the castle goes up, he will be able to click into Imperial, start getting Mangudai out on the field, and I feel like that should be a 2-0 over there. So, looks like we have a big Knight counterattack, and one thing we haven't talked about is that Vilas's eco isn't amazing, so he's at 68 Voyagers, which is fairly underwhelming if you compare it to the fact that LaaaN is at 65 himself, and Heart is also clicking into Imp. And here's the deal, Mangudai are insanely tough to stop if you have the time to mess them. But there is a big if in that, and there's a chance you will just get overrun by Magyar cavalry. I might have spoken too soon. Because now, Vilas is down to 66 Voyagers, so they're pretty much even with LaaaN. We'll have 1 Imperial Age player from both teams, even though it looks like Heart is going to delay his imp a tiny bit. But if there is any hope for LaaaN and Heart, that's Heart overrunning the opponent with Cavalier before the Mangudai numbers are up. Because it's only 1 castle worth Mangudai production, you see, it's only flexing, no ballistics, no tumbling, so it takes some time until you actually get there. I love how Max is collecting relics, by the way. All 5 relics are here, close to the middle forest, and Max already picked up 3 and bringing in for number 1 right now. So Imperial Age coming in here for Heart. He's gonna be 1.5 minutes behind though. He needs to be able to hit Max's eco here with like 20 Cavalier upon reaching Imperial, otherwise this feels quite bad for him, but it looks like Max won't give him that chance. That castle is gonna be dropped in the face of Heart. He sees that, but he's gonna have no tools of stopping that because I think there is enough Mangudai or Camels here to stop this. 4 Mangonels are out for Heart, as it looks like Vilas is actually gonna go for his own Mango push as well. And you can see the red ping from LaaaN, interestingly. So it might have been LaaaN pinging this to his teammate that, yeah, it seems like Heart didn't notice in time. You saw the red ping, and then Heart started moving away. It seems like Heart didn't spot this in time, and there was no hope of stopping that, which means that the gold mine is gone. Very, very limited gold control available for Heart to make things worse, and he only has 16 cavalry. Elite Mangrai immediately coming in. Kebdram will soon follow for Max upon reaching Imperial. He's still missing Ballistics and Tumbling, but at this point I think Kebdram makes more sense. Imp TC is this one, so that should stay up. But good question, Pete. That's actually a very, very good one. Vilas and Max with way better map control. Imperial Age is coming in as well for LaaaN. He's using this TC at the back for imping. So it's going to be 2 Imperial Age players against just one, although Vilas is getting close to clicking into Imp as well. But what is LaaaN going to do in Imp? That's my question. Big fight coming in here with the not so +4 Knights just yet, because this is still Castle Age Knights. Monks not really getting any conversions, though. Once again, a bit of a miscommunication. And oh no, that's the game over. Some miscoordination again, all the Knights going down just before Imp, and it seemed like the Monks just didn't convert or just converted 1 unit overall, and it looks like Max will just go heavy camel, knowing that the only thing that he's encountering right now is heavy cavalry. But even if the Turks had anything, what can the Turks go for? Turks can go for cav archers, don't have Arbalest, so camels will eat cav archers as well. And as things stand, for a moment it seemed like Heartt and LaaaN might have a small shot at turning this one around, but it's 49 army against 16. Elite Mangrai slowly increasing in numbers with the third castle going up. LaaaN is gonna get to Imperial, but this is the Imp into GG type of scenario. We'll have light calves from Max. Max won't let this slip out of his grasp with 133 eco and 4 relics under his control, cleaning up all these knights here with heavy camos. And we shouldn't underestimate the power of the Gothic Flood either, as Heartt just caused the GG here. And I think this clearly shows why teamwork and team coordination can be a so important factor. Because individually, I think LaaaN and Heartt are somewhat comparable to Max and Vilas. Even if they're not necessarily as good as they are at least comparable. But the teamwork and the coordination for Max and Vilas seem a lot better. And with that, Max and Vilas take game number 2. Massive eco for Max. Crazy resource income overall. And KD massively in his favor. Vilas' laming paid off at the end because Heartt's entire Dark Age was crippled. Like, you could tell that Heartt really struggled to get any kind of eco rolling in early Feudal Age, and that had its impact because he got beaten to Castle Age, he got his ranges mangoed down. Heartt pretty much fell apart in Feudal Age because he had no eco. And on the other hand, Suomi didn't lose a single bit of their economy. I don't think... Well, Vilas lost a couple of villagers, Max as well, but not something that was comparable to the losses that LaaaN suffered. Especially in terms of inefficiency, because it wasn't about LaaaN losing a lot of villagers, it's about being so inefficient, losing the gold mine, having a lot of idle time on those villagers. Suomi so far, surgical precision execution so far. They take game number 2, and with that, we have one final home map for LaaaN and Heartt. If they lose this, then they go to the losers game. This is group stage, so they won't actually get eliminated immediately. They will just go to the losers game, and the losers game loser will be eliminated, just like GSL group stage goes. So we will jump into game number 3 over here. It will be on the home map of LaaaN and Heartt, so we're going to Kawasan, a Japanese-themed map here, and we will have Suomi bringing in Burmese and Persians. We'll have Vilas playing. That's an interesting imp time. Capture Age. That's probably a little bit wrong. That's actually a known bug and they track it, as that house is actually really unfortunate for Vilas. It actually is blocking one farming spot. So yeah, that's a known bug. It happened during Hidden Cup as well. This is probably the fastest Imperial in the history of Age Vampires. 13 seconds fast imp. No joking, obviously. Alright, so this house is actually pretty bad for Vilas because it is going to block a tile of farm. But regardless of that, Vilas will be playing in a blue Burmese on the right side. On the north, we will have Max's Persians in green. We will have Bulgarians for Heartt in red. And we will have Franks for LaaaN in yellow. So an interesting combination of civilizations. Neither of these teams have very, very good archer plus cavalry lineups over here. Franks will likely be your cavalry civ, And there is some berries in the middle, so you can definitely go for Franks. From that, Heart can play Cav Archers. They don't have good crossbows, so if it is an archer build from our Bulgarian player, then it's gonna be Cav Archers. He's playing with a very, very open front. It's a super duper open map, in fact, for Heart. Front berries, front gold, not so great. He's got a gold at the back, and the back is very, very easily volable. But still, this exposed front is not something that is ideal. Slightly better map overall for LaaaN, even though his gold is quite exposed. Right side, Vilas's map isn't great either. His left is very, very open as well. But this side should be volable. And finally, after Capture Age unfreezes, we are going to take a look at the base of Max. Max's base is actually fairly decent, easy to vol off on the left side. The gold mine at the back is pretty nice. And overall seems like probably the best map for all 4 players on this one. So Max, bring in first ball right now. On Kawasan, you have 4 pawns if you play 2v2, which is not necessarily straightforward. It is always the same amount of pawns as the amount of players. So 1v1 Kawasan only has 2 pawns. 3v3 would have 6 pawns. And in this case, you always have a safe pawn, so one that is in between 2 teammates, and 2 contested pawns. So this pawn is something that's in between 2 enemies. We will have Vilas coming in here with the first dock for himself. We already have a dock on the contested pawn by Max with Persians, and we are going to have Bulgarians as well going for a pawn control, and it's going to be a safe pawn for LaaaN. So here's the deal. The only water fighting that we're probably going to see at this point is going to be this pawn, but Persians should be clapping Bulgarians on water by a massive, massive margin. One thing that Bulgarians could do, though, is still open men-at-arms, and that could be something that's troublesome to fight against at the beginning. Nice quick walls from LaaaN over there to save the Voyager from that scout. Let's see if Vilas sees that dock. I think he should. Nope, Vilas doesn't see that dock. So he doesn't know where his opponent is at. He checked out the other side of this pawn, so he knows that his opponent isn't there. Other side, LaaaN, I think, did scout the dock of our blue player, but that's also not true. So they seem to be kind of unaware of the opponent's fishing operations on those pawns just yet. So what do you do with Burmese here? It's an interesting question, because it kind of feels like Vilas is just picking Bulgarians here, because there is just no other civilization that they find reasonable for this map from their pool 2. Bulgaria or Burmese have the lumber camp upgrades for free, which helps a little bit, but other than that, they don't seem like a super strong civilization on Kawasan. Neither are Bulgarians. So with that, we're gonna have Max coming in here with the first few ledge of the game, shortly followed by LaaaN and Vilas. And I'm just noticing, that's why I confused the player names so often previously, because LaaaN was playing red in the first game, and then he actually switched to yellow completely. So we're gonna have LaaaN playing Franks here on the right side. I do want to mention that Italians was used in the first game by LaaaaaN+Hearttt because they messed up their civilization selection and Suomi decided on their civs. So Italians could have been a much, much better choice here than Bulgarians. Maybe that's one of the reasons why we're seeing a somewhat unfavorable civ matchup here for LaaaaaN+Hearttt. And let's see what those Voyagers are up to. They seem to be foragers, but that's not necessarily something that you want on a hybrid map, and indeed they're going for a barracks, so it is going to be a fast man-at-arms play from Hearttt, something that Max has to be prepared for. One thing that's more unconventional, though, we got men-at-arms play from Max as well. Hearttt lost his scout here. You can see the remains of that scout over there. And let's see. Hearttt has no idea about that barracks right now. It's only 2 militias, so it looks like Max will actually give up. He won't give up on the men-at-arms, but it's only 2 men-at-arms opening instead of 3. He got housed and he didn't have the time to get the men-at-arms out. He's expecting Bulgarian men-at-arms, by the way. That's why he's probably making this. He just wants to cancel this one out. And indeed, he will be able to, because his opponent is not up to feudal age just yet. And his opponent will reach feudal and get men-at-arms immediately, right in the moment where he gets his own men-at-arms. As Max loses the scout, that's far from ideal, but he cancels the opponent's men-at-arms, and Bulgarians often feel like a one-trick pony safe towards fast men-at-arms, and after that they are somewhat underwhelming in general. Max takes this fight over here and takes down the men-at-arms, so I think his only reason to go for these was to cancel out the men-at-arms of the opponent, and that was a successful move. Overall, I'm also happy to report that apparently the horses have been... No! The horse! The horse! Wait a second. Wait a second. Oh no. What has... Oh no. Feels bad. LaaaaaN just absolutely massacred that poor horsey. What I wanted to say is that in the qualifiers we had a bit of a map bug, that this map actually didn't spawn with horses, it spawned with camels. This is a Japanese themed map, so camels made very little sense. I'm happy to see that they were replaced by horses. Still, as expected, Persians will dominate water against Bulgarians. It looks like Heart isn't even committing to that, and the men-at-arms of Max are still in here. Oh my goodness. This is getting closer and closer to a stomp. And that's not something that I expected. Bulgarian men-at-arms opening on the... not Bulgarian, it's not Burgundian, it's Burmese. So, Burmese men-at-arms opening on the other side, they also benefit from the extra attack at the beginning, so it's a double men-at-arms play from Suomi, as this Voyager is gonna get absolutely turned into a human barbecue, and also sliced into bits by those men-at-arms. And, oh, this is looking extremely grim right now for LaaaaaN and Heart. They're behind by 3 Voyagers, which doesn't seem that big of a deal, but I just feel like the momentum isn't really there for them. There's a dog coming up here for LaaaaaN trying to pressure this pond. It's a little bit sloppy from Vilas not making galley to prevent the docking of the opponent here. Men-at-arms run past the TC here, and now they are through. And there's an archer that now is... Oh, they don't even have to run past the TC. The walls are just not up. And, I mean, you force a defensive tower over here. There's a spearman supporting too. And the scouts player just can't do much against this one. There will be a counterattack by LaaaaaN, but I think Vilas will more or less be walled, or he's just gonna have defensive spearmen where needed. And behind this one, the men-at-arms are breaking through. And tower will eventually be finished, but one Voyager went down, and now the men-at-arms will just keep rampaging the eco of Heart. On the other side, we do have galleys being queued up by Heart. Galleys? Why? What will galleys do to you? I mean, you can try sniping the opponent's fishing ships, but, I mean, you gotta go for that right now, and the pond is so small that you can't really run around and just snipe fishing ships. That is looking extremely bad. I mean, you will snipe 2 or 3 fishing ships, but you will lose 3 galleys in return. I feel like demos could have been slightly better, to be honest. I understand the concept, I just don't think that this is going to benefit LaaaaaN and Heart by any means. They will kill like 3 or 4 fishing ships, sure, but they guaranteed lose this pond, and it's easier to replenish 3 fishing ships than replenish 3 galleys, by the way. So, I feel like trading 3 fishing ships to 3 galleys in short term is absolutely viable. Persians, Max will be playing with archers, by the way. Obviously, Persians don't have Arbalest, but until crossbow, they're actually pretty good, and now they will target this stable, and with archers behind, repairing this one isn't going to be possible for LaaaaaN. He could very well be losing his stable here. Men-at-arms are still around for Heart. He went for like 5 men-at-arms here, but Max is just gonna go for a couple men-at-arms himself, adds an archer. Max is going into castle, man. Max is going into castle. This is pretty much 2 separate 1v1s right now. And really, Suomi is back to the Vinland territory. It looks like now it's just a mutual fishing for the 2 players here, as LaaaaaN is trying to boom like crazy. He's got 47 eco, by the way, 2 ponds worth of fish, but still, he has no means of stopping Burmese spearmen and men-at-arms with just scouts. I mean, he will have to take this fight at some point, but he's going to lose so many scouts in the process, and you see there's more spears and archers coming already from Vilas. It is basically, as I said, 2 separate 1v1s right now. It doesn't seem like our yellow player would be helping our red player or vice versa. And same applies on the other team as well. It looks like those scouts will try to head directly towards Max, who's walling himself up. I believe his teammate told him that the scouts have left, so that's why the walls are coming up over there. Vilas is actually going to go for walls. He could have just walled over here, to be honest. Because if he was here, then that's much easier to do. Obviously, his back would still be open, as Max slowly walls himself up. He's not fully walled, and that's quite a lot of Frankish scouts coming his way, but it looks like Berry Villagers will now get intercepted by the archers. Quick walls coming in here from LaaaN, as another villager is gonna go down most likely. Nope. LaaaN actually saves 2 low HP villagers here. That was a nice move from him, but Max is up to Castle Age, which means that getting 2 knights on the field will clean up all those scouts. He will eventually spot the scouts because of these archers moving forward. You see, this helps. This Mantrams actually helps here for Max, because it's easier for him to spot the scouts and he has like a little bit more time to react. He will have a couple of spearmen out, but it's gonna be 2 knights that clean this up very, very easily. And also Fire Galley fight coming in. LaaaN is actually pushing the fishing eco of his opponent, but it looks like Max will just, or Veles will just commit to taking down this dock with the melee infantry. Overall, Castle Age on the way as well for our blue player. At the end of the day, Max did lose only 1 villager and he killed 4. Veles killed 6 villagers, only lost 1. Overall, ecos are still very close because LaaaN has a completely untouched fish boom on this pond, and Max just starting to boom on that. It looks like it's just gonna be full spearman defense from Max, which is interesting because these scouts have quite decent upgrades, so you want to make at least 1 camel or knight to work with this one. But it looks like the knights from Max will just be heading directly towards LaaaN's base. LaaaN going for some quick walls to prevent the knights from running past. And the dock here is gonna get taken down. Veles keeps his fishing eco alive for the time being. And Max is gonna have 2 pawns controlled as well. It's right now 3 pawns in the hands of Max and Veles, and only 1 pawn in the hands of our LaaaaaN+Hearttt team. Heart with no water control whatsoever. He's making a forward siege workshop immediately, hoping for a pike in siege push, but I feel like Veles might just go for a full boom if that's the case. Crossbows now coming in from Veles. He will continue with crossbows, he even techs into pikemen immediately, as the workshop is going to start popping out mangonels. This is not something that Max has spotted just yet, but he will soon figure it out. There is a second TC coming in for Heart as well. Knights are through the pal side walls over here, but Knights are in as well for LaaaN. LaaaN has got +1/+2. Our green player only has bloodlines and no upgrades on those units whatsoever, but the crossbows show up, and once again, we could see a couple of villagers going down for LaaaN, who is somewhat starving for gold, running out of gold at the back of his base, and his primary gold is something that he cannot TC right now. Pikemen now on the way though, and it could be scary for Suomi because the eco advantage isn't necessarily enormous, and we have to consider that the spike and siege push could do quite a lot of damage to Max over here. Max just coming in with a blacksmith, man. He didn't even have a single blacksmith, and do you know why he's making the blacksmith right now? Because he wanted to make a siege workshop. He didn't get any upgrades for his units, and the prerequisite building to a siege workshop is a blacksmith. So the way that he realized he doesn't have a blacksmith is by trying to go for a siege workshop, and then he was like, oh shoot, I don't have a blacksmith, I can't go for a siege workshop to defend against the mangonels. One stable will go down here, courtesy of the men-at-arms and the pikemen. As the workshop does go up, crossbows still lurking around over here. Ecos fairly comparable, but Suomi is slowly taking over with 3 TCs coming in for Veles, 3 pawns for them as well, and 3 TCs as well for our green player, whereas LaaaN is still 1 TC. He dives in with the Frankish Knights now, and there weren't really enough spearmen to take this fight. Crossbows will try to take this position, but they will just get surrounded, and this is the first time where I feel like LaaaN and Heart have a better momentum, because it's basically 2 separate 1v1s, one between Veles and LaaaN, and the other one between Heart and Max, and I feel like the Spanish team might be winning both. So we might not be in for a 3-0 just yet, although things like this shouldn't happen to Heart losing villagers to knights like that, because that's a massive overchop over there. Still, Pike and Siege could be very scary over here for Max. He's gonna go for his own mangonel defense. Second TC just now coming in for LaaaN. And let's see if LaaaN TCs the middle for the berry bonus, because that's where the Persian or the Frankish power comes in for them. So dropping a TC in the middle for the berries could be extremely helpful, because it gives you a great food income, and that allows you to go for potentially 4 TC boom or just 3 TCs and triple stable knights. And look at the military numbers. We're actually close, But if you compare what those military numbers are, it's like spearmen, fire galleys, a couple of monks on the other side of the map from Villas. Whereas if you look at LaaaN and Heartt, they have a nice and concentrated force of 13 knights with good upgrades in the base of the opponent. That's the difference. The army numbers are very deceiving in this case because it's 18 knights, 12 pikemen, 3 mangonels, and 3 monks pushing this side, whereas here, as a defense, it's only a couple of spearmen, or pikemen, crossbows and knights coming in, so really, despite the fact that Suomi has the military numbers, most of it is actually either on water or just not in this specific fight. It looks like Villas actually tries to yoink all relics, and LaaaN is forced to delete 2 of the knights in an effort to prevent them from being converted, and it looks like Villas will just go 4 relics here. He also is going for redemption, trying to convert these, but I feel like this is the moment to shine for LaaaN and Heartt. That's quite a lot of Frankish knights over here, and if the stables go down for Max, he's not going to have any production. What is Max even up to? He's slowly turtling this one out, trying to go for monks. It looks like Villas will try to go for monk defense on his teammate. Voyager count now heavily in the favor of Suomi by 30. But this push is actually getting scarier and scarier. These are Persian TCs, so they withstand a lot of punishment, but they will go down eventually. Still, it looks like the Knights will intercept a couple of Voyagers. Villas actually picked up 4 relics, I believe, already, which helps quite a bit. 30 Voyagers lead and 4 relics for Villas is huge, but he's nowhere close to getting a run by on the field, and overall they're not close to stopping this push by any means. Now our Spanish team commits to this, monks will be picked off, so will the mangonels, and now this TC is under heavy fire. Camels will be added in by Max, but we did talk about the fact that monks from Heartt or potentially pikemen can both work out against those camels. Those camels only have +1 defense, so they're not really well upgraded. Either 4 mangonels slowly eating the TC over here, and we could see a crepas being dropped by Heartt, who is going for 3 TCs now. Mining stone on the opponent's base. Look at how much damage that Persian TC is withstanding though. The double HP helps so much, and there is a castle coming in for Villas. So Arambai will soon become a thing, and Arambai will eat knights, it eats pikemen. That's where things could get really rough for our Spanish-speaking team. So yes, Max is taking the role of the punching bag, but if this castle goes up, this push is most likely going to be stopped, because the mangonels, the monks won't be able to engage the camels. And on the other side, if Villas gets to Imperio and gets to Arambai, he will just eat everything that our Spanish-speaking team has. So suddenly, with this castle up, this is looking way worse for LaaaN and Heartt. And Max, he knows his role. He's the punching bag right now. He just needs to absorb damage and slowly go down, while his teammate is able to boom up to 85 Voyagers, 4 relics, and actually now 5 relics, and all the Arambai. We got some fights over here against a famous tiger, but eventually that's not something that Villas is gonna have trouble with. That's a big horde of knights, but there is enough camels with the support of the castle to slow this one down, I believe. I don't think that LaaaN is able to afford a fight in the range of that castle. You can afford a fight outside here, but not in range of the castle, and it looks like they will be heading straight towards the base of Villas. Crepas dropping the middle for all those fancy and juicy berries, but I mean, all the relics are gone, so that's something to consider. The pikemen here actually will get converted. That's a little sloppy from Villas, and those are still Burmese pikemen, so they will actually inherit, or they should inherit, the Burmese bonus as well. But Arambai are excellent at dealing with massed melee units, and guess what? Massed melee units is a horde of pikemen, massed melee units is a horde of cavalry, and then their castle comes in here for Villas. This could be a scary moment though, because that's a lot of knights with +1, +2, only 7 camels against them. But a couple of monks and pikemen could help swing the battle in your favor, and Max also finds a way to go into Imperial, man. That's where their eco is kicking in. That's still a 25 Voyagers lead. Our Spanish team dropping castle in the middle, and it's double imp, but more importantly, it's one thing, Arambai, and the way that you stop Arambai is like mass archers, potentially with staggered formation, but that's not something we're seeing. Heartt needs to tech into Cav Archer to have any shot against the Arambai. So here come the knights, but once again, I feel like 8 Burmese pikemen here with 4+3, a couple of camos, 2 castles, monks, should be enough to at least scare away this horde from here. Rambai are now in. Monk trying to get a conversion in on the mangonels. Honestly, I'm not sure if this was a good fight for LaaaN. He just mangoed half of his own knights for a monk. Really, he lost so much HP. He's down to like 2200. He will heal it up, so it's not really a big deal. But I don't think that that was worth it. That monk got a little bit overkilled, so to say. Max coming in with a castle here on the other side, and Heartt sees that, but what is he going to do against that? That's the question. It looks like we'll have a pike and siege push coming in here from Max on that side. As LaaaN and Heartt are stonewalling off the middle, they are preparing for a long game here. Stonewalling off the corners as well for trade, but how are they going to stop this one? Over here for Heartt, I am not so certain. Burmese halberdiers coming in here with their insane attack. Like you see, they are already +3 and they don't even have any attack upgrades on. Trebs taking down the castle. The knights won't be able to engage halberdiers, especially 4+3 halberdiers. Over there, Hubs coming in as well for Max as well. And he's gonna get some Trebs out too. Defensive castle coming in for Heartt, 130 away from Imperial. And this is his Imp TC, which is the good decision in this case. For now, LaaaN is going to be repairing that castle. Tries to go for Cavalier. On the other side, we'll have supplies. So Champion is going to be the defense, or well, 200 swordsmen with Bagains for Heartt. The castle needs to stand, that's for sure. If this castle goes down, this is going to be very, very worrisome for LaaaN and Heartt. Ecos have pretty much equalized by now, but still 5 relics for Vilas actually is a very, very nice trickle of gold, as you see over here. Heavy camo even for Max, so he's preparing to fight against all those knights. Castle will slowly go down, I believe. 7 villagers repairing against 3 trebs, 4 trebs even. Carrying up hills is still not enough. So the castle goes down. I think this happened before Chivalry coming in for LaaaN, and a Rambai Halberdier is, man, it's a scary composition. It's very, very scary, in fact. The Rambai can also take nice choke point fights over here in the middle. Cavalier will now be unleashed, and if you are Vilas, you just want to take this choke point here. Left side, Halberdiers are coming in. Plate mail is in, so technically we could see the swordsman from Heartt coming at any moment, but he's not doing anything right now that is related to that. He's not making any army, at least not on those barracks. He's making army in here, big fight in the middle. Cavalier have insane numbers here though, and the LaaaN and Heartt are winning this fight. Rambai are still scary and they will just massacre melee units. I just don't think that LaaaN and Heartt have anything to deal with the Rambai other than overrunning them. Like, really the only chance you have is just outproducing your opponent with military and maybe trying to trap those castles down. In the left side, there is still no swordsman for Heartt though. What is happening to him? He's got the resources, but he's not making anything here, and he just lost that castle as well. It seems like he's focusing too much on the fight in the middle, trying to get some good downhill shots with the mangonels. As another castle comes in here from our yellow player, it's the cheap Frankish castles, but look at Heartt's eco now. It's getting absolutely rampaged, and guess what? There is access to hand cannoneers from Persians, which means that these swordsmen won't really have an easy time anyways. They also have just 5 pierce armor, so the castle picks them off really easily. All those monk upgrades coming in as well for Vilas. He's preparing to fight onagers, and that's exactly what's gonna happen. The castle, I think, will go up and then immediately go down to the trebs. And in the meanwhile, we do have a couple of swordsmen moving in here, but they won't do much. And if you look at this push, finally it seems like Heartt is stalling this one out, but he's got no response to the hand cannoneers just yet. I think swordsman onager might work for him, but hand cannoneer onager is, or hand cannoneer bombard cannon is hard to stop. So Persians can just do bombard cannons against the onagers. So Heartt right now is holding, but they're behind by 20 villagers. They have a 5 relics deficit to overcome as well, so Vilas is sitting on 5 relics the entire game. You will probably be able to see like 5k gold from that. And now the Craypost goes down, Vilas actually starts moving forward. Definitely the best game so far from Heartt and LaaaN, but it might still not be enough. There is enough meat shield here with the camos to allow the hand cannons to pick off the swordsman. It's 116 reach against 41. Len tries to tech into light cav, and French light cav is sort of a sign of a GG soon, because light cav will have no chance of stopping like what is essentially a Hab and Siege push on the left side. It could still be Hab and Siege. It's right now hand cannon, but you could keep adding Halberdier. But more importantly, you don't have an archer civ on this map, and the Arumbai will just eat everything that's not an archer, to be honest. They even are good against archers. Arumbai are extremely hard to stop when you got a full-boomed Burmese player. It's only 19 Arumbai on the field, and the majority of the army from Vilas is actually Halberdier, but Heartt just tapping out here, and I think the somewhat surprising setup here, Suomi 3-0ing LaaaaaN and Heartt, an extremely important set for them, I have to say, because they're looking to secure a position in the first two in their group, which also has Tempo Storm. LaaaaaN and Heartt, I think they got back to this one by the third game, but I feel like the lack of team chemistry right now has been showing for them. Whereas for Max and Vilas, they come in strong and end up winning this one 3-0. They look really sharp, and I'm really curious how they're going to do in the winner's game, because with that, Suomi moves into the winner's game. I just want to quickly show the stats, but I feel like the eco advantage of Max and Vilas will show. 2.5k gold from Rolex is not bad either at this stage, and these imp advantages are fairly considerable. 34, 38, and 36.26 compared to 38.56 and 37.27. So much better imp times for Max and Vilas helped quite a lot. And early, this castle from Max was very important because that prevented the opponent from pushing deeper into his base and eventually going in with Imperial Age for Vilas. He was able to get to Rambai, Halberdiers, and that's not something that LaaaaaN and Heartt could fight against. And Suomi advances into the winner's game.